Hey guys, haven't done a video in a while, and I wanted to do one on a question that I get asked a lot, and that is whether or not I should self-manage my own properties. This is something that I've kind of developed a pretty strong opinion towards, but I kind of wanted to run through the pros and cons of each, and just kind of run through my argument for why we have decided to hire a property manager for pretty much our entire portfolio. So I'm going to go down through the quick list here. So one of the things that I hear a lot from people who self-manage is they don't like relinquishing that control. So there is, one pro. If you are actually managing your properties, then you obviously are directly, interfacing with the tenant. So when it comes to tenant selection and all those kind of things, you do have more control. The other obvious one is, if you're hiring a property manager, you obviously have to pay them. So if that's 8 to 10% of your rent, you're probably paying them, 70, 80, $100 a month to manage your properties. And that is money that could be going into your pocket. So that is another reason. And, one of the other ones is you have your own best interest in mind. So no property manager is going to treat your properties or worry about your bottom line to the same extent that you would. So that is definitely a pro to self-managing your properties. Now I'm going to go down through a list of cons. So one of the big things in my mind is that you can get too close to your tenants. So for example, I literally have one property that I am still self-managing, and it is the other side of the duplex that I used to live in. And those tenants, they know who I am, they have my phone number, and I have never raised the rent on them. And I probably let several things slide that I would not have otherwise if it had been with a property manager. So, that's one of those tough things. It's easy to get emotional about it, and you get close with your tenants, and you want to help them out. But, I see a ton of landlords that go out of business or just get frustrated and stop because they get all emotional about situations and they're not able to make objective, good business decisions. And it is a business, and it has to be run like a business or it'll fail. So that's a big issue. Second one is it's time consuming. So especially on the upfront part. So when you're marketing your properties to tenants, you're doing the leasing, all the tenant screening and all those kind of things, that's very, very time consuming. And, I would argue that your time is better spent doing other things. The other thing is you're on call 24/7. So if you have a furnace that goes out or a hot water heater that stops working or anything like that, when your tenants call, you have a responsibility to them to take care of it in a timely manner. And it doesn't matter if you're at work, if you're on vacation with your family, it doesn't matter. You've got to take care of it right then, which that can be pretty frustrating, especially if you own a lot of properties. And then I would say that my biggest reason for not self-managing is opportunity cost. So, you're paying your property manager $80 bucks, $80 a month or so to manage your property. But the thing you got to think about is how much is your time worth and what's the best use of your time. So if you took all those hours that you were spending managing your own properties and instead figured out how to build your portfolio, grow your portfolio, things like that, I would argue you will end up much farther ahead. If you're self-managing, I see a lot of people that they hit a limit. It's more of a mental limit than anything on the size of their portfolios. So I rarely see people self-managing who have more than 5 or 10 properties because they just they've got all this stuff going on in their head about how to manage the properties that they're not focused on what they should be focused on, which is how do I maximize the return on my portfolio and how do I keep acquiring and growing. So if you have 10 properties that are self-managed, yes, you're paying the property manager $80 a month, but what if you had taken that time and grown your portfolio to 20 properties instead? It's obviously going to make up for itself. And you also have the other factors that benefit you from owning real estate. You're getting the appreciation on more properties and the loan paid on more properties. So you will just about always end up, money ahead from that perspective. So interested to hear what comments you guys might have. Leave comments below if you agree or disagree or have any other questions. Happy to answer them. Thanks. Bye.